Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Spirit of Liberty broadcast. We appreciate you watching live with us today. And we are doing another call-in episode. We need you on the show. You are our guest host today. And we did not want to put the title of what we were talking about on the description or in the title because we didn't want to get, the YouTube police, giving us grief or anything like that. But today, we want to talk about COVID restrictions in different parts of the world. What are you dealing with at this point? It has been almost a year since we started our 15 days to flatten the curve, listening to the expert advice from Dr. Fauci and Deborah Birx and all these people that are so much smarter than us that they knew if we would just listen to them in 15 days, we would flatten that curve. We wouldn't overwhelm our hospitals. And turned out they were just off by about a year so far. And people...
Birx retired.
Birx retired?
Yeah.
Why didn't Fauci... She take Fauci with her?
Well, she retired because she went to a Thanksgiving dinner when she told everybody not to. There were multiple families involved. And so it was like a big scandal, and she just quit. So
okay. Well...
Fauci got caught that one time with his mask down, but he wasn't humiliated enough. So we need to bust him.
Yeah, need to bust him for something. But these people have no shame. It won't matter anyway. As long as they're, towing the party line, they'll be, they will be just continue to be propped up. But anyway, so yeah, we want you to tell us what you're dealing with because let's just face it, we're a year into this thing. And we're not wondering anymore. We all know now this is stupid.
It's just to keep us safe.
This is just getting old. A lot of people, we tried to do some things just in case. But now, here we are a year later, and we're going to look at some stories of things going on in other countries and other places. And we're going to see just some of the foolishness and stupidity that's going on there. But we want to hear what it's like where you're at. So where we're here in Illinois, in Rock Falls, if it weren't for the masks, you wouldn't really know anything was still going on. If it weren't for the masks and restaurants still being closed. So the way it is out here, any restaurant that wants to be open is open. It's the big corporate chains that have to be politically correct. They're the only ones that are still closed inside. But we've got restaurants open up to full capacity. They're not really supposed to be, but they are. Nobody cares. And so it's just the politically correct big corporate chain restaurants that are closed. And when it comes to wearing a mask, everybody's doing it for the most part. But most places aren't enforcing it, except still for Menards. And then Farm and Fleet. I got thrown out of Farm and Fleet for not putting the diaper on. And they lost $350 as a result of that because I went and spent somewhere else. And so I hope they go out of business because they were just $350 short of making budget.
And do we know if it was even a Karen, though, that was there? Because last time we was at Kroger's, we got thrown out by a Karen after we had half of our list taken care of with produce and everything filled in a cart. But my wife just went there yesterday, and no mask, not a problem.
Yeah, it depends on who's working.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can tell more and more places are getting sick of it. And I am starting to see a few people here and there. When I go into stores, I'll see other people not wearing masks and stuff. But we're still a long way there. But what is it like where you are at? So call or text. Last time we did this, I didn't get any of the texts that were coming in. All right, they were there. I got this different app. I didn't notice it. But call and tell us what it's like. Tell us where you live, what you're dealing with. And because maybe you just need to complain and get it off your chest because you're tired of dealing with stupidity. Now if you live in one of these places too where you're more free than us, we might not want to hear from you because then we're just going to get jealous. But no, if it's normal where you're at, that's fine too. We want to hear about that because that's good news. It gives hope for the rest of us, especially if you live in a place that's been open and everybody isn't dropping dead, which doesn't seem to be happening really anywhere.
Well, one thing that's been surprising to me is hearing about, especially like in the Europe area, a lot of just the stuff that they've advanced, because I kind of thought that the United States would sort of lead the charge in opening up. And the United States is pretty open now. I mean, honestly, like if you took away masks, you probably wouldn't even know that we were still in the middle of anything. But they're open a lot now. I mean, especially like in Iowa, we just went out to eat at Texas Roadhouse, full capacity. The only people in the restaurant that had a mask on at all were just the workers. And a lot of them weren't even wearing them properly. You know, so I'm probably going to kill everybody today because I sure got COVID from there.
Yeah.
Because what a super spreader event.
Well,
but the thing is, I mean, Janae and I were just sitting there, and I remember sitting down, and since it was just us, we were sitting at just one of the 2-person seats, and then right next to us was this guy. It was like, it looked like just 2 friends that were, you know, they both had their wives there with them. And they were in like their 50s, maybe their 60s. And man, this guy was just the loudest guy I'd seen in a while. And I remember they were at the booth just directly across from us. And as soon as I sat down, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I'm sitting next to this guy. But then all of a sudden I did a double take and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I'm sitting next to another person like right across the aisle from me. And this place is loud. You know, and at first I was thinking like, man, I'm tired. I don't like it that loud. I'd rather it be quiet, rather just enjoy a nice dinner with my wife. But it was like, there was something just so pleasant and relieving about driving in to a completely packed out parking lot, a huge line to get in the restaurant, and the place was just booming. You know, they had 100% capacity. All the tables were filled. There wasn't an empty table. And it just felt great.
Yeah.
It was annoying listening to that guy just scream all night and talk really, really loud. But at the same time, it was kind of nice that I could be in an environment where I could be near something like that. And it was just packed. But it's discouraging, though, because I thought it was going to be like that everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, even Chicago now, I'm pretty sure, they've got their restaurants open. Lori Lightfoot pushed for their restaurants to be open. She was saying it's ridiculous. They can't be closed down anymore.
Turn up. All right, well, we got a call coming in. Let's see who we have here. Hello, thank you for calling the Spirit of Liberty broadcast. Who's this?
Hey, Pastor McMurtry, it's Josh Gander from Canada. How you doing?
Hey, we got someone from Canada. How you doing, Brother Josh?
Doing well.
How are you guys up there north of the Iron Curtain, or I don't know, what are we going to call Canada now? They're arresting pastors up there.
Maple leaf curtain.
Well, I used to make fun of the Americans and say you guys were still in Egypt, and we were up here in Canaan, the Promised Land. But of course, that's all kind of flip-flopped on us, and it's pretty. It's getting weird up here. That's all, as far as COVID goes.
Yeah. So is that just an Alberta thing, or is it kind of like the whole country being crazy still? I mean, do you guys are very many churches open at all up there yet?
Well, Alberta is actually one of the more open places. They got a very conservative government, and so anything you see there is pretty much exponential where we are near Toronto. So
wow.
Churches, not so much. I think just this last week they opened up a lot of them to red. So all these pastors that were masked up preaching to empty auditoriums are now letting a handful of people in, but they have to do all of these questionnaires beforehand and sign on the dotted line that they don't have any symptoms and what have you. But they've started to sort of open. Our church, of course, has been opened unrestricted the whole time, but we would definitely be the minority.
Well, man, how is it just like in regular life too? I mean, are most of the businesses open? Is it mainly just mask stupidity? Are you able to travel around much? I mean, just what's regular life out there? Is it getting normal at all yet?
Well, my job is deemed essential, so it hasn't changed much for me, except I have to wear a mask if I'm out and about. If I'm at my desk, I'm usually okay to take it off. But weird things are happening. As far as the stores go, they're all just, mask up or whatever. I've been fine, just kind of go about my own business and say no thank you if I get to the door. Last night was the first time I was really questioned on it, so I had to drop the exempt word. I mean, if you do read the verbiage, most everybody's exempt. If it causes difficulty breathing, you're exempt. So by their own rules, we should all be good to take them off. But travel's weird. I mean, people are flying back from countries and being alerted, hey, when you get back, you're going to have to pay for a test, and it's going to cost you this much money. And then they're forcing people into these weird quarantine hotels.
Oh, wow.
And, I even heard a report of a teenager getting scooped up when he came back from, I believe, a mission field. And they didn't even tell his parents what happened because they're using the medical rules to their benefit. It's confidential, so we can just scoop up your child and throw him in a hotel and charge them, $300 a night without telling you, because that's confidential information. But, and these people are being forced to be in these things.
Man. Well, that's crazy.
With penalty of like $1 million fines. Like, it's like they just took like an absorbent amount of money. Like, you think of that goofy Austin Powers movie. They're like, how much should we charge them? $1 million. And they just throw that out there as a fine.
Wow.
So,
well, definitely praying for people in Canada.
Okay.
It's got to be tough.
Yeah.
So how's your wife? How's your wife
I don't
doing?
take too much of your time.
You got a baby coming here pretty quick, don't you?
Doing great.
Cool.
Yep. I'm preparing breakfast for her right now. So she's pretty bedridden and all that because you got it, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
She's pretty bedridden. So, enjoying that wonderful third trimester. And we're just waiting for Micaiah to show up. So
cool.
We're blessed.
Well, all right. Well, you guys hang in there up in Canada, and appreciate you calling in. And
thank you.
Look forward to seeing you guys once they let y'all out of the prison up there.
Yeah, thanks again to your church for praying for us. He's a miracle baby, and
I know
believe that your prayers played hands. So that's amazing what happened there about a year ago.
Yeah, I'm excited. When the baby comes, we get some pictures and stuff. I was thinking about putting a video out showing kind of some highlights from the message. I've got when we prayed over everything on video, and just kind of share that just to encourage people to the importance of the laying on of hands, and that it does work and makes a difference. So
absolutely, yeah, praise the Lord.
Pretty exciting. So
amen. Thanks, Pastor.
Yes, sir. Thank you. You guys take care. All right. So we just heard from Brother Josh Gander. I don't know why my ringer is going out loud on there. Let me see if I can fix that. Hopefully that'll be. But
that's rough.
Yeah,
that's weird. That I don't know. I guess it's not weird, but you just think that like Joe Biden gets in, and he's the Democrat, which is supposed to be like so much worse on us. But I feel like COVID's gotten better since he's been in, to be 100% honest. And I don't think that's because he's just magically solving all the problems. I think it's just because they got what they wanted and they're letting us go now.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about that.
But it is interesting to me, though, that, other countries, I don't know, it's like, so the United States got what they wanted. They got Trump out, they got Biden in. What do other countries want then? What's the thing that they're trying to accomplish in their own countries? Because it seems like Canada, just in their situation specifically, I don't think that they really have a whole lot of problems with their leadership. Their leadership does whatever they want them to do now, and they're completely complicit in everything. Like Trudeau literally was marching with the fags. It doesn't get worse than that. I couldn't imagine getting a worse leader in place.
Yeah, I don't think though. Yeah, there's no limit to power crazy people and how far they'll go. And so the thing people don't realize is, if you give the government a little bit of something, you think you're going to satisfy them and appease them, but it's never enough. They want total control. And so even in places like Canada that, I would say is less free than the United States, we down here, we look up there and we think, well, they should be satisfied. They're not going to be satisfied. They're not satisfied in, these Muslim countries where they're able to just kill whoever they want, no consequences. There's a reason that we see, mass genocide take place in other countries all over the world. When they get power, they destroy. And that's what people need to realize. An all-powerful government is way more dangerous than any pandemic will ever be. And so we don't ever want to, give government more power and control just to protect us from something, especially too that's going to be very temporary and something that, we can definitely handle. We've all been sick before. And so we just need to deal with it. But let's, go ahead and call whenever. But I wanted to kind of go over some details of this one story in Canada. So it's been news in Canada. It seems like it's shaking some things up. The Grace Life Church in Canada and Alberta, they arrested the pastor there. They have thrown him in jail, which is just beyond stupid. To think that this guy is, some kind of risk to the community because he's holding services, and then you got to lock him up in jail is just nuts. But there's no doubt they're wanting to make an example of him. This is being used to scare and intimidate other churches. And I was watching a protest Pastor Nemec shared on his channel where, they're encouraging. This is just pushing, I think, more churches to open up. And I hope that happens. I hope all these churches in that area just fling their doors wide open, make them fill the jails up, if they have, and they'll probably let them go because they're trying to make an example. Because if we can intimidate people with this, they'll do it. But if it just makes more people, disobey the stupidity, then I think it'll help. So
historically, that's what's happened. When you persecute Christians or you persecute people trying to do the right thing, it just empowers more people to do the right thing.
Right.
So that it's kind of counterproductive for them to shut people down and throw them in jail. Because, I remember back in March and April, we weren't really sure what opening up wide was going to do, if we thought people were going to go to jail or not. I mean, we were ready for it. But it's like if someone in Illinois would have got thrown in jail, I probably would have started trying to get thrown in jail, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
I was ready to do it.
I was ready to get thrown in jail back when they, when all those churches were getting together wanting to, reopen.
Yeah.
And
when I went out to Chicago, I was half expecting not to come back that day.
Yeah. That was pretty frustrating too, because I was so excited just seeing churches getting organized and saying, we are going to violate this thing.
Right.
But then they kept delaying it. They had those stupid lawyers involved.
They kept pushing it back till the government told them it was okay.
And they kept pushing it back. And then finally, they drew the line in the sand. They're like, we're opening this week. Keith Gomez goes on Newsmax. He's on the news. Sick. We're opening up. And then, I had to put our church on a list of churches that's going to be opened up. And before we were kind of being quiet about being open, but after that week, everybody, because what a lot of churches had already been open, but they had what they were calling soft openings, where they were open, but they were kind of not being real public about it. They didn't have everything going on.
We were like parking all over the place,
and
walking to
church. So the plan was, though, on that day, it was wide open. Yeah. Not hiding anything. All the ministries back up. And then Keith Gomez got that letter.
Man.
And then just the guy leading the charge, just totally backed down. I was just like, oh, dude, it was so frustrating. And that was, and then, but
what's some of the one-liners he said? Like, we're not scared. Maybe God wanted to see if we had any guts.
Yeah. Shut up, chicken. That was the best.
And all it took was a letter.
It was such an awesome message. It was such an awesome rant, but it was.
They killed our forefathers.
Yeah. They killed our forefathers.
Just
you're worried about 3 hots in a cot.
All it took was just
shut up, chicken.
Just a letter.
Yeah, and then right after that, Stacy Shiflett also got a letter.
Yeah.
Stacy Shiflett, he tears it up, and then he's on Fox News. He's on InfoWars. He's the big hero. And then it was right after that, after the national attention of that, Trump declares churches essential.
And then there's no battle anymore.
Right. It could have been Keith Gomez.
That's the chance.
He could have done it. He could have been the one to do it.
I would have rather Pastor Shiflett done it.
I'm glad it was Pastor Shiflett. But, he was the one. But I got a text that says, hello, Pastor Tommy. My name is Terry from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. I appreciate your preaching very much. I'm a pharmacist, and I've been asked to contribute in the COVID vaccine campaign. I refuse because I don't believe in vaccines, and I would like to have your opinion. I say, God bless you. Yeah. And I'm not against people working in the pharmaceutical industry. There's a lot of good stuff that they do too. But, I don't see how they can make you be like a promoter, advertiser, I don't think that's right, and I don't think you should have to do that. At the end of the day, when it comes to a lot of these medical things, people need to make their own choices. And the problem I have is just not that in some places, the government's pushing these things, but there's no doubt there's like major propaganda going on.
Well, I just saw this thing that 1/3 of the military is refusing the vaccine in the United States. 1/3 of the military. And here's the thing that's staggering about that is that if you know anything about vaccines in the military, they shoot those guys up with so many vaccines it's not even funny.
Oh, I know.
I mean, like most of those, like I've heard stories about people that come out of there, like in their 40s, and they're just like, I've had like 5 times the normal dose that people have. So they literally like get them ready to go into battle or get them ready to go in these other countries, load them up with everything, and they just turn into like a super weapon or something. And they're just like immune from everything for a certain period of time. But so these people that get shot up with like everything in the book, 1/3 of them are saying that they don't want to even take it. Mm-hmm. And that's encouraging to me because it's a lot easier to say like that 1% has to be forced to do it. Mm-hmm. It's a lot more difficult to say that you're going to force something on 30+% of people, and that's just the military.
Right. And you know what? This is an area where the military can fight for our freedom right now.
Yeah.
Stand up against the tyrants yourself. That would, I'll support them in that, 1,000%, no doubt about that. But I know in other parts of the world too, Ireland, they've extended their lockdown until May.
Yeah.
And this is starting to really get to people, I think.
Absolutely.
We're seeing suicides all over. I mean, I keep hearing more and more story about kids.
Yeah.
I mean, young teenagers committing suicide. They're just so depressed. They can't do anything. They're not around people, and it's just a horrible existence that they're asking people to do. And this isn't about health anymore. This is clearly about control.
Yeah, well, it messes with you. Well, go ahead.
All right, let's look at if anybody is looking at the populate like the whole issue with Ireland, their lockdown. They extended it to May. They've got let's say all their numbers are legit. They've got over 4,000 reported deaths reported in Ireland, with a population of 4.9 million people, and they're keeping this lockdown and just stupid regulations for people. Can't travel, can't do anything.
Yeah.
For 4,000 people out of almost 5 million.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that makes me mad about our country too, because I feel like our country has been leading in a lot of the stupidity, but
now they're starting to kind of lead out of it.
Well, I've been hoping they would.
Everybody else isn't really following along.
Right, I've been hoping that's what happened because I felt like a lot of countries followed us with the stupidity, but I think too, they took more advantage of it because they can.
Yeah.
We still have our government still has some limitations on it where these other countries don't. But the fact that America was playing this game, it gave other countries an excuse.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely horrible what they're doing, and I really feel for these people in these countries. And so, I encourage y'all, this is your chance to complain, all right? Your government's not going to listen to you, but we'll listen to you here. We'll be on your side, unless you're for, keeping everybody, locked down and stuff. But I'm looking forward to the Great Reset. Brother Paul's working on the documentary.
I've just seen like the interview stills. I haven't really seen a lot of the content that they're talking about in there, but the production quality looks phenomenal. That's the kind of stuff that I look at. It's the production quality, and man, these interviews that he's been doing, he has ramped it up big time. They look fantastic.
Well, he's got, the people too. He's got a lot of big names on it. There's
you got
Tommy McMurtry.
Yeah.
There's like Alex Jones.
I seen some lady in there. And
I saw they had some guy named like Kennedy. I don't know. That's not really that big of a
Kennedy.
deal.
I've heard that name thrown around in America.
Maybe like a Robert Kennedy, but I don't really know anybody bigger than Tommy McMurray.
Yeah.
You're like the star of the show, aren't you?
That's what I was. That's what I've been thinking the whole time.
Yeah.
I better get a lot of screen time on this, or I'm going to be pretty upset if a Kennedy gets more screen time than me. What in the world? Then I'm going to have to go after Brother Paul and. For featuring a reprobate over myself, because. but yeah, that's the other thing too. This Grace Life Church. One of the things too, they are allowed to be open, but with 15% capacity.
Yeah.
Which is pretty pathetic.
Yeah. It is.
Okay, and he wasn't enforcing mask wearing, he wasn't enforcing social distancing, and so the AHS said the church was continuing to create unacceptable public health risks by violating various orders, and so he had been fined $1,200 back in December. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but here's the thing too. I haven't looked up this guy. I noticed his church is not Baptist church, but you know what? I still support him, and even if I'm getting sick of this attitude. Baptists are known for this, where we're not allowed to support anybody unless they're exactly like us on things. A church gets bombed. Oh, well, I don't agree with them on the reprobate doctrine. I can't support them. Yeah. That's stupid. Yeah. Or, this other church, they don't use good terminology on salvation. I'm not going to support them when the government is trying to close them down. Also stupid. These people, and I don't know what Canada's laws are and stuff, but I know Canada pretends they have religious freedom, and
do they really?
And I guess they do, and they pretend they have freedom to a certain extent. But when you're like jailing a pastor for holding services, you're a terror to good works. You stink, and you need to be taken down. And I support them, and I hope more people stand up against this guy. But let's go ahead and do our preaching clip of the week. I don't want to end with it today. We've got this has been a blessing. I appreciate everyone sending in their preaching clips of the week. I don't even have to listen to preaching anymore. People have been doing a good job sending them to me. But this week we have Pastor Richard Haley Jr. He's the pastor of Amazing Grace Baptist Church in Wichita, Kansas. I was thinking what we should start doing is whenever a pastor is going to be featured on Preaching Clip of the Week, we should send him like this real official-looking email notifying him of the high honor of Preaching Clip of the Week, and see if they fall for it and think it's that big of a deal.
You should hire Stephen Boffman. Have you seen any of the stuff that he's made for Sure Foundation? They're doing like baptism certificates and everything, and he does all the calligraphy stuff. So he's making like these really professional looking certificates. You should hire him to make like a professional looking certificate. For like, you were just featured on the Preaching Clip of the Week.
Oh, that would be great. Mail it to their church.
And it could be like signed by you.
Austin's just saying that because he's been on it, so he.
That's probably what it is. And then we get offended if they don't hang it up in their office next to their ordination certificate.
Well, no, what we can do is we can
start expecting them to come preach for it, or to.
You don't always want to do that because we don't necessarily
endorse them.
They don't necessarily endorse us.
I promise you, next week's Preaching Clip of the Week. It's a great clip. But I'm just gonna put out a disclaimer a week ahead of time. I do not endorse the preacher that I'm planning on featuring next week. Yeah. This guy's preached some goofy stuff.
So that Mary would have split hell
wide open the cross. But this particular preaching clip, I like it because he's just ripping on the trendies. And it's great. And that clip is good preaching. I didn't say that's a good preacher. We're saying that's good preaching. And so anybody investigates the preacher we're planning on featuring next week,
you're not gonna like what you find.
You're not gonna like what you find. but you will like the clip that we're gonna feature, and we'll let y'all look forward to that. But let's go ahead and roll this clip. Congratulations to Pastor Richard Haley Jr. Let's see it.
The preacher featured on this clip is not necessarily endorsed by Pastor McMurtry or the Spirit of Liberty broadcast, nor does the preacher being featured necessarily endorse this broadcast or Pastor McMurtry. The makers of the Spirit of Liberty broadcast just heard this clip and thought,
"That's good preaching."
Find that they were faithful servants. This is important. Go back there, amen. We saw 1 Corinthians chapter 4. 1 Corinthians chapter 4. That these men, we find, were servants. Verse 17. For this cause have I sent unto you Timotheus, who's my beloved son and faithful in the Lord. Amen. Timotheus, Tychicus, all of these men, we find the Bible describes them as servants. I tell you what God needs in a local church to help the local church go forward are faithful servants. And I tell you, what makes these men special, what makes them beloved to Paul, is that they were willing to serve. They were willing to serve others. They had a love for other people, to get other people the gospel. They were willing to serve wherever that they were needed. They were willing to do the things that maybe nobody else wanted to do. Amen. Some of these men are not famous, but they were faithful. So many people don't know the name Silvanus. Many people may not know the name of Timotheus. Many people may not recognize the name of Tychicus. Many people may not recognize some of these people, Onesimus in the Bible. They were not maybe famous people in Scripture, but they decided that I'm going to be faithful because I love the Lord, and I'm just going to be a servant anywhere that I can. I'm just going to serve God anywhere that God can put me, and I just want to be a blessing anywhere that I can. And Paul said, these men are beloved to me. These men I appreciate and I love because they are simply servants. They'll do what needs to be done, and they'll help where needs to be help. And these faithful servants, Paul said, I cannot get the work done that I want to get done if it weren't for these men to carry these letters and to bring it to you and to comfort you and to teach you and to help you. Because they're willing to serve you and they're willing to serve God, the church can go forward and we can see more done because these men that were willing to simply just be servants.
That's good preaching.
All right. So I didn't hear that. I wasn't able to hear that whole thing, but I listened to it the other day. But here's what I like about that clip. So the point of, a lot of these servants, they're not always the famous people. They're not always the ones that get the attention. The preachers who just preach normal and are just faithful. They're not always the ones showcased at the camp meetings and the big events, but there is something to be said about those who just practice honest to goodness, regular faithfulness. And as a pastor, somebody who's been pastoring for a while and been in the ministry for a long time, I can definitely speak for the fact that I as a pastor really appreciate just faithfulness over these showboats that kind of come in and they blow in, blow up, and then blow out. They do a lot of good things for a while, but then they just kind of flop out on you. And just a good practical message there that he was given about faithfulness, and I appreciated that clip. And so thank you for sending that to us. And yeah, if you have a good preaching clip, just email a link with like a time stamp of when it starts getting good to lbcofrockfalls@gmail.com. If you don't know how to make a clip, that's fine, but just tell us, hey, send us the link, and then roughly when it gets good. I don't want to have to listen to the whole hour message, and so that will help us out a lot. But again, all right, people, don't be bashful about calling in. All right, I see all these people. We had over 40 people watching live, and none of y'all are calling in. All right, don't be bashful. We want to know what it's like. If it is good, we want to hear about it. If it's bad, it'll make other people feel better about where they live. So you could be an encouragement there. But I am thankful for our area, and make sure you keep track of what's going on. Like if there are protests, if you have a situation where you can call some of your leaders and keep some pressure on them, do that. I really think that stuff helps, because at the end of the day, most politicians are just cowards, just trying to get reelected. And so you need to make them think they're not going to get reelected if they keep messing with you. Yeah. So
why don't you give us some thoughts, Tommy?
Yeah, Tommy, you've been being really quiet.
No.
We need some thoughts from you. What's it like, where you work? Are they still bugging you guys with stuff there?
No.
Are they forcing you to get the mark of the beast or anything like that?
No, I don't think so. If they do, it'd probably just be optional if you want to do it or not. But they don't even really enforce masks unless like some lady from HR sees you. They're the only ones that have told me to put one on.
Do they still push you guys with to get the flu vaccine every year?
They just say something.
Yeah, they'll put something up saying you can get it, but they don't even.
There was some guy that they had the vaccine, they had the people there with the flu vaccine, and they were just saying any of us could go get it. And we had to work a little bit late one day, and this guy that works in the freezer with us got out, and they had already left. And there was another guy there walking out with me, and he was like, man, these people left with the vaccine. I'm not going to be able to get it today. And then this guy just looks at him and just starts roasting him. Like, you're about to put that in your body? Like, do you know what's in that? Like, just some random guy. I don't even think he's a Christian. But just, like, going off. And I'm like, do you realize what's in vaccines? Don't put that stuff into your body, man. And he just kind of sat there awkwardly, like, didn't even know what to say.
That's funny.
But it was hilarious.
Yeah, well, that's why, go ahead and be, don't be jerks out there, but be outspoken about things, because most people are just kind of go with the flow people.
Yeah.
And, again, that's why a lot of the places that are still doing masks, like Iowa, they've dropped their mask mandate as far as the state goes.
But just everybody's still wearing it.
But people are still doing it. Businesses are still doing it because it's still politically correct.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately,
if you probably went into like the middle of nowhere in Iowa, just some random place, like a little small town area like this, but just in Iowa, they probably wouldn't be doing anything out there, I don't think.
Oh, yeah.
The corporations would. But especially if you're in like a larger area of Iowa, they're definitely going to say something.
Well, Buda
do something.
on Route 40, it's this little town, it's either Buda or Bradford. Whenever we're driving to Peoria, we go through there. And we stopped there at the Casey's one time.
That's Buddha.
I think it was Buddha. And they had the signs up, on the door, no entry without masks. I mean, they had it all real threatening.
Yeah, it's just company.
I walked in there like I didn't care. I went in there, and none of the workers were wearing masks.
That's awesome.
And it's the same thing, too. I went into the City of Rock Falls building again the other day. I had to stop there for something. They got all the signs up. The workers there don't even wear them.
That's pretty ignorant. Prophetstown ain't even as good as Rock Falls End.
I know. Prophetstown's bad.
Yeah, Sarah, every time she'll walk over to the city hall to pay a water bill, whatever throughout the day, get the stroller out, put the baby in it, walk the baby over, and they will not let her in to pay the water bill without a mask.
I guess that means they don't want the money.
One time, they made her walk back to the apartment. It's only like a couple blocks, I think, from where our apartment is. But she walked back with the baby. It's cold out. And she came back with the mask on. And they let her in to be in there for a minute to pay a bill. And, like, this is you guys are Prophetstown. It's tiny. And there's nothing to it. And you're going to act like you're part of, like, a big dog government.
Yeah. Well, we went to the subway there, and they wouldn't let us in without a mask.
Yeah, I was so mad. The one time I've used a subway over there, it was earlier in the lockdown, but man, I was mad. I tried to walk in. I was standing there just looking at the menu, guys walking in, making a sub, and I'm just standing there looking, okay, what do I want? I know what she wants. And, sir, you have to get out of here. You don't have a mask. So I'm like, I don't want to wear one. She said, no, you got to wear one. So I just stepped outside, and I called from right outside the door and told them, yeah, I need to make an order. You won't let me in. And made the order and made the subs, and she walked outside the door, took the cash from my hand, and, so you still have, instead of having big plexiglass and about 6 foot of space between us, me standing here telling you to make my food, and now you came right straight, handshaking distance, took cash from me, went back inside, came back, gave my food to me. What did you accomplish?
Yeah.
They follow the ritual.
Yeah.
It's like a religious ritual that these people are doing. And it's just beyond frustrating. And, y'all can act like we're the jerks because we don't want to go along with this stuff. But this kind of thing, one, it's stupid. It's hurting businesses. They don't have any right to do it. Yeah. And we don't want to make them think they've got the right to do stuff like this because, again, there is no limit to how far these people will take things.
Yeah.
If we let them continue, it will only get worse. A lot of you are okay with one mask. That wasn't enough. Now they want 2 masks.
Hey, I predicted 3 months ago.
Yeah. I tried last night making an aluminum foil mask. Yeah. I wrapped my mask in aluminum foil, and it looked pretty good, except I couldn't get it right, with the foil going around the ears and everything because it kind of stretches.
Yeah.
And so, but I'm thinking about trying to get my mask wrapped with aluminum foil, and then anytime I'm forced to wear it, I'm also wearing a tinfoil hat too. And you say I'll look stupid. Well, I mean, listen, I already look stupid with the mask. I might as well complete the ensemble.
Have you seen the video of people in a drive-through window. They put the payment in the bucket and give it to the person. There was a person that had a big old wok frying pan to receive him.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I get my issue with all the lockdowns and stuff has been the businesses being shut down and just people being hurt psychologically and financially. The masks hasn't been that big of a deal for me personally. I just haven't cared that much about it. But I will say, if I'm in the mood for it, I just like to mess with the people that are doing it. You know, like the videos that I made about like putting the pot cover on my face, like just making sure everybody stays safe. The other one where I had the 3 masks on, delivered my presidential election, speech. But I've been thinking about ways that I have to be in the right mood to do it because I don't want it to be a joke. I need to be serious. But I want to start walking into places that like you have to wear a mask and just walk in, and if they say something to me, just pass out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's been.
Put it on you.
I've been hoping Biden. When I've been seeing Biden going around with his 2 masks now, I've been hoping he accidentally gets suffocated from it. And
but I just
passes out.
I just want to tell him I have a medical condition. It gives me serious anxiety.
Yeah.
They're just like, you have to wear one. Just drop.
That would be fun. I've thought about doing that.
I'd have to be in the right frame of mind to do it because if I start laughing, it just crushes it.
One of my favorite things to do that I do a lot, and a lot of it depends on my mood too, is because I'm a nice, friendly person, and so when I go in these places and they tell me I have to put on a mask, and this is what I just did the other day. I said, I did this the best one I did was at Best Buy one time, and the lady went in there and she's like, "Sir, you need to put on a mask." And I said, "I'd rather not wear one." She's like, "Well, it's our policy." And I said, and I'm being real nice. I said, "So, well, if I don't put one on," I said, "Are you guys going to throw me out?" And she's like, "No, but nobody will be able to help you." And I said, "All right." Well, I said, "Well, I'm not even sure I'm going to buy anything, but if I decide I need help or want to buy something, I'll put one on." And she was just like, "Okay," and then she just walked off and left me alone.
Well, I thought it was funny yesterday. The problem was just with the Panda Express, the Chinese people don't cave, man.
No,
they're serious about this stuff. But you asked the woman while we're like, "Can I just hold my breath?"
Yeah. I was dead serious. And when she asked, I said, "Can I just hold my breath?"
Oh, man.
She didn't allow that though. But that's one of my excuses too. I'm just I was at the store. I always have a line ready to go in case I get confronted. And the other day I was hoping I was going to get confronted because my line was just going to be when they asked me, to wear a mask. I was just like, "I'm fine. I'm not breathing." I was just going to argue with them and tell them I wasn't breathing, and so I was fine. But I haven't got to use that one yet. But I usually have some kind of prepared statement ready to go. Sometimes I'm just in a bad mood, and I just get aggravated. The other day I went into Menards, and I knew they were going to make me put one on there. But I did get through there the other day. I made it through the other day, whole thing, and I didn't put one on. Nobody said anything. It was a miracle. But then I went in this week, and I had to get something from there. I had no choice. And I went walking in, and it was like, "Excuse me, sir, you need to put on a mask." And I was like, "I don't really want to." And she's like, "You're going to have to." And I was like, "Ugh." I just started growling as I walked off and put it on. And
I just have fun with it. I might get down on all fours and start walking like a dog or something. I don't know. It's just
I've wanted to get an it mask.
Yeah.
It's like, since you guys want me to help spread the fear by wearing this stupid thing, I'll spread some fear. I'm wearing an it mask and scare all the little kids.
You have any idea if Menards would let you walk in with one of those, the tool mask, like your wife has and the one that I had?
Oh, yeah. No, almost any place will, because at the end of the day, it's about being politically correct. It's about the message.
Yeah, when we built that railing out there, we had to go to Menards to buy all the stuff for that. While we were in there, I had my mask on, but I had it below my nose and above my mouth. I wrapped up. No one said a word.
Yeah, most places, except for airports, on airplanes.
Yeah, airports is the one place you can't.
Or not airports. I never wear them in the airport.
Yeah, when's the last time you were at the airport though?
It's been several months now.
Yeah, they've changed it up quite a bit.
I mean, when they were they're super strict in the airplanes. They've always been strict on the airplanes.
Yeah.
But in the airport, I'd walk through there, nobody say anything, because like when you get to the one area, people are eating, they're drinking things, so a lot of people aren't wearing them anyway.
Yeah.
And then whenever you go through TSA and they look at your picture, they're always telling you to pull it down anyway. So a lot of times, I think they think when you're going through TSA, you just took the mask off so they can see that you're you.
Yeah,
but
someone said they were trying to call and I didn't get an answer.
oh, they tried to call in. All right, sorry about that. This app that I'm using is kind of weird. I'm not showing a missed call on here, but go ahead and try again. We got to shut this down here pretty quick. But anyway, in the airplane, you're not even allowed to wear those masks with the vents on them.
Yeah.
And if they catch you like with it below your nose or something like that, I mean, I was just I had one time. It was like kind of just like on my nose. It was covering my nostrils, and they told me to pull it up.
Well, like that's the one thing that's changed since Biden has been in the office. He said he was going to do the national mask mandate. He didn't have the authority to just say that, that everybody in the country has to wear a mask, but he could do it everywhere he had jurisdiction over. And one thing the federal government has jurisdiction over is airports, airplanes, and stuff like that. So if you went into an airport today and you didn't wear a mask, you would probably be in trouble, like real trouble. Like you'd have to pay a fine. I think it's like $1,000 fine. You get caught in one of these places without one on.
No warnings. I'm going to at least use my warning. I'll have to find out before I fly. Well, I'm trying to avoid flying as much as I can this year too, because I just don't want to have to deal with all the
just want to stay safe,
the foolishness.
Stay home.
Stay safe from the government.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about COVID. But anyway, sorry if the phone thing wasn't working. I've been using an app, so it might not be working for everybody. So I don't know. Maybe I'll switch that up. That could be part of the problem. Last month when we did this too, I was watching for text, and then it was weird. It was like they all came through later. So I don't know. This is one of these free app things because I didn't want to have my phone number out there and then have people call me all week. So we might have to try something different. But either way, again though, we appreciate you. Somebody's getting a message. So this app's probably junk. So sorry about that. We'll come up with a better system. All this stuff is experiment. Just an experiment. We're learning all the time. But I appreciate everybody participating and watching. And go out there and let's try to make a difference for good. Just do the right thing in spite of the government. And we pray that God bless you, keep you safe. Support those who are doing the right thing, that are standing up against wicked governments. Pray for these people in other countries where it's more difficult. And let's not give the government any more power. So God bless you. We'll see you all next week.